Welcome to Voices of Resilience, part of the Iron Sharpening Iron universe, where stories of strength, healing, and hope come to life. I'm your host, Davina Lyons, also known as Mama Lyons, and this space is dedicated to amplifying the voices of those who've turned pain into purpose. Each episode, we dive into real conversations about courage, self discovery, and rising stronger than ever. So lean in, take a deep breath, and be inspired by the incredible voices of resilience because every story has the power to heal. Welcome to Voices of Resilience. I am your host, Davina Lyons, also known as Mama Lyons. Today on Voices of Resilience, we're joined by a woman who truly embodies what it means to live boldly and without limits. Tamika Williams is an Arizona realtor, international flight attendant, author, and empowerment speaker who is passionate about helping others create and live their dream life. She's also the owner of Wealthy Concepts Media, a global platform that highlights and elevates entrepreneurs through powerful conversations and interviews. With a background that includes serving in the United States Army and building a life rooted in faith, purpose, and strategy, Tamika brings a unique perspective on resilience, growth, and personal power. Her message is simple, yet transformative. Choose happiness, protect your energy, and stop letting other people's opinions define your path. Tamika, welcome to the Voices of Resilience. Hello, hello.
Hello, Davina. How are you? Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
This is fantastic. I love what we're going to talk about today. I think this is definitely something that is needed. I've been on the path, on the journey with you over the years.
Mhm.
So I know firsthand that there's nothing that you're going to share that isn't true. And that's for sure. I have watched the evolution of Tamika Williams. I have, you've inspired me in so many ways. And I just know that you are genuinely a wonderful person with a really good heart. So everything you share is definitely with the intention of helping others grow and glow. So let's get into it.
I
Okay.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, you wear many hats, right?
Yes.
Realtor, flight attendant, speaker, entrepreneur. What inspired you to create a life that doesn't fit into just one box?
Well, I realized early on that I wasn't built for just a one dimension type life.
Okay.
Each role I carry reflects a different part of who I am. And instead of just choosing one, who said I have to only choose to do one thing, I decided to honor all of them. So becoming a realtor gave me a way to help people build wealth and stability. And being a flight attendant feeds my love for freedom, travel, experiencing the world, eating beyond my immediate environment, and speaking and entrepreneurship allows me to use my voice, speaking into others, inspiring others, telling stories, creating impact on a larger scale.
Mhm.
Um, None of these paths complete me. They just complement me as a person, and they complement each other. But what truly inspired me was the understanding the fulfillment doesn't come from fitting into a box. Like the box does not
Mhm.
exist for me. It comes from designing a life that aligns with my passion, that brings me happiness, that allows my purpose to be shared and to grow my capacity. And I stopped asking myself, what should I do? And I started asking, how can I make all of these work together? And I am a woman of faith. So
Mhm.
faith was a big contribution to all of this.
Mhm.
And so for me, success is flexibility, ownership, influence, and the ability to evolve without asking for permission. So I'm at a point in my life, and I've been at a point in my life where asking for permission from anyone else but God um, wasn't something that I needed to do. You know, he gave me my gifts. I just had to execute. So creating a multi-dimensional life wasn't about doing more. It was about living fully and refusing to shrink into something that felt like incomplete.
I love all that. You said so much. And, I love the notion of multidimensional life. I haven't heard that before. I think that is powerful. And you're saying, yes, it's possible. Um,
Yes.
because you'll have so many people give what I call erroneous advice, in that you need to focus on one thing. You need to do this, you need to do that. And, whenever someone starts out with, you should, that right there is a pause for me, because like you said, you answer to God, and what is for you is for you.
Mhm.
And who knows, I mean, yeah, the box doesn't even have to be a part of the equation. And
Mhm.
I appreciate that. And as someone personally who is doing a lot of different things, I get it. But what I like is that you have a very good alignment with the different things that you do. You understand the purpose behind them. And
Yes.
and that is how you were able, from what I can see, to design your life. And we're going
Mhm.
to talk a little bit more about what that looks like. But living without limits, what does that really mean day to day? Um, you know, for you, or what you think for others.
I would say living without limits, it starts with when I wake up in the morning.
Hmm.
I remember, we were part of a ACN, which
Hmm.
was a multi, what do they call that?
Multi-level, multi-level
Multi-level marketing.
network marketing. Hmm.
And actually, that was a blessing in disguise. I learned so many things from that. I started really learning who Tamika Williams really was. And at that time is when I really started learning what I like and what I didn't like about my life in particular. And one of the things that I did not like is I just don't like schedules, time schedules like that, where
Hmm.
every day is the same thing, repetitious. So I'm not a
Hmm.
repetitious type person. So I knew creating my life without limits would not be something that I would have to do the same thing every day. And so being a real estate agent, I create my own schedule. As far as being a flight attendant, I choose the trips that I want to fly. I choose the destinations where I want to go. Um,
Hmm.
I have goals within the goals. So when I was choosing a life without limits, I was more focused on what is going to make me happy
Hmm.
and not make me feel like I'm living in a bubble or in a jail cell.
Mm. Oh, there's so much in that. And I think if people are listening, they should be thinking about right now how they're living, and do they feel like they're confined in
Mhm.
that. Are you on this 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 schedule? Do you have to clock in at a certain time? Do you have, and know that there's possibility that they can redesign that they can do
Yes.
something different, and then factor in what are they naturally good at. So I
Mhm.
love this. This is very important. um and I think you kind of touched on this a little bit with the ACN experience, and I learned a lot from that as well. So I get what you're saying. One of the things that I remember from that experience, that was said quite a bit, was collapse timeframes. I still say that. How can I collapse timeframes? What can I learn? How can I? So I get it. Um, at what point did you realize you had to stop caring about what others think? Because I think that's a big part of it as well. And what triggered that shift?
I would say about 10 years ago when I was
Hmm.
going through my divorce.
Hmm.
Um, it was a very complicated situation. My two younger sons were sophomores in high school.
Hmm.
And I come from a Christian background. My parents, my grandmother. So basically, getting a divorce did not, they
Hmm.
didn't, agree. or they wouldn't support
Absolutely.
that.
Right.
So they were like, oh, okay, so I had to make the decision for me. Like I had to
Mhm.
make this decision. Hey, I don't care about what other people think. I'm the one who has to wake up each day, and I have to be able to choose my happiness.
Mhm.
And the things that I was going through in that marriage, it was way bigger. That's a whole nother story.
Different
But
episode. Yeah.
yeah, a whole nother show. But I make a decision what I felt what was best for me, and not
Mhm.
for what was best for my kids, even though I know what was best for me is what's best for my kids. But in the past, I continued to stay in a relationship that I felt was best for my children and not
Mhm.
me first.
Right.
So I would have to say that was the big turning point for me. Like I was
Mhm.
like, I need to live for me. I need to do what's best for me. And then also when I left my corporate job, I went from making, excellent money to basically having to count my coins each day, and having to figure out, okay, how am I going to really support myself? So I had to go all the way from having an established career to going all the way back to, okay, what is my purpose? I know my life is bigger than working at a corporation for me,
Mhm.
and I wasn't feeling fulfilled. So
Mhm.
I think that is the big thing. I knew there was more to what God had in store for me.
Mhm.
So that was a determining factor for me. And then a lot of people thought I was crazy. Like, you're gonna walk away from this, you're gonna do this. From the outside, it looked like I had it all. I had it all: the house, the white picket fence, the kids,
Mhm.
everything.
Mhm.
But I had to make a decision. I don't care about what other people think or what they think they know about Tamika. I have to do, what is best for me. And because I'm the one who has to live in this life, I have to wake up each day. I have to walk these shoes. And so that was the
Right.
determining factor for me.
Right. 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 Well, and I have to say, as a side note, you were. Um, I believe in giving people their flowers while
Mhm.
they're living. You were extremely, extremely instrumental in some of the things that happened in my life that were positive. You inspired me more ways than you ever probably knew. I was watching, and that's the thing, people do watch and
Mhm.
pay attention. And I remember your very first SOAR, when you did
Oh
SOAR.
yeah. Mhm.
I attended back in 2018,
Yeah.
24, I think it was
No, yeah,
2018, I think.
it was 2017. Uh-huh.
17. Okay. Yeah, I knew it was around that time because I launched my business in 2018, March of 2018, because in 2017, I went to your event and I was searching, trying to figure out what am I going to do? And that was prior to Tribe Authentic Woman. And then I evolved to Authentic Me, and now Rising Resilience. And all along in that evolution, I was seeing you do great things. And I was like, wow. And one of the things that inspired Authentic Me was a conversation that you and I had, that you probably didn't realize. We had met up for lunch, and you were sharing something with me that, you know, you protect your peace. And I
Mhm.
think someone had given you some information that made you feel some kind of way. And I loved that you brought it to me
Mhm.
and we talked about it. And at that point is when I was like, wow, you know, you can be around people and you never realize just who they are. And when you shared that this is who I am, this is what I will and I will not accept in my life,
Mhm.
that was powerful. I respected that.
Mhm.
And I love that you were able to communicate your feelings but still be loyal and true as a friend. And
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, she's got something. And then I started watching all the different things you were doing. And then, like, international flight attendant. Wow. Like, you love to travel. You made that clear.
Yeah.
But you went through a door that would allow you to do it. So that's also very strategic.
Mhm.
And so absolutely, that's why I was excited to have you on, because I just want to say, Tamika, you have been extremely inspiring and I appreciate you for that.
Yeah.
In
Thanks.
addition to being a great friend. But um, so you mentioned choice.
Mhm.
You use the word choice. I noticed that I don't think a lot of people realize how much choice they have
Mm-hmm.
in the matter of designing their lives. Do you think so? You agree?
I don't, because I didn't know for many,
Okay.
many, many years. So,
Okay. Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah. And you have to, something has to open up for that to happen. And that's a part of living without limits as well.
mhm,
Um, and then worrying about what people think, well, yeah, that's always going to happen. People are always going to be watching. People are always going to have something to say. Um, let's talk about people's energy
mhm.
and how it affects you. You mentioned checking people's energy at the door. What does that look like in real life, especially in relationships and or business?
Well, I mean, there's two different types of ways that I do that. Like, my personal life, I have more control over that. So I do have a strong sense of discernment. And however, I still give people the benefit of the doubt. I've learned, though, when people show you who they are, to believe them.
Mm-hmm.
And just because when you first meet somebody, you gain a perception of them, or you think a person is this way, but then they're showing you something else, you need to believe what they're showing you.
Mm-hmm.
So, as far as my personal life, there is a type of energy. I'm a healed woman, so I will not allow an unhealed woman to give me advice or to tell me how to do something, or to bring negativity into my life, to bring gossip, things of that nature. Um, when you feel energy, a negative type of energy, someone who's always talking negative, not only of themselves, but about other people, that's a red flag. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say pay attention to red flags. Pay attention to people who, like I said, are always worried, looking at what someone else is doing. So in this race, I feel like, you can't worry about what your sister Sue on the right is doing and your lefty Leslie is doing on the other side. You have to look straight ahead and continue on your journey until you get to your destination.
Mm-hmm.
What Sister Susie is doing, that's her path, that's her journey, that's what God has ordained for her to do. And what Lefty Leslie is doing, we don't know what all she has been through. Everybody doesn't tell everything that they're going through.
Right.
They will only tell a portion of what they're going through. We all have some things that we would never tell anybody, you
Right.
and it's probably not out of shame. It's just, I may feel like that information is just not beneficial for you.
Right.
So you can't judge everybody based on their journey. And I do want to give this example. I know I'm going to the left just a little bit, but
It's okay. It's
just
okay.
Vanessa, Kobe Bryant, Vanessa Bryant,
Yes.
he played for the Lakers.
Right.
The other wives and girlfriends were very jealous of Vanessa Bryant for years. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, she had
Mm-hmm.
her own entrance where she would come into the stadium, her own parking lot, her own parking garage,
Mm-hmm.
clothes, her own, when she would walk into the stadium, seats, whether she was there on time or she came halfway through the show, her seats were there for her.
Right.
And then then look what happened. Her husband and her daughter,
Right.
were killed. And
Mm-hmm.
then you had those women that were wanting to be her, that were envying her life and all of
Right.
these things. It's like, you should never do that, because you don't know the shoes that a person has to walk in order to be able to live their life. Like,
Right.
I only want to inspire people. I don't want anyone to do exactly what Tamika is doing, because this is my journey. This is what I chose for
Right.
myself. Um,
Right.
and so that's why you need to sit down, or you should, or whatever
Mm-hmm.
vernacular you want to use. Write down, what does happiness mean to me? You
Right.
know,
Right.
where I'm at in my life right now, where I've been, and where I'm trying to go,
Right.
and then start from there.
Right. Because
Um,
we all have a different vision. We
yes.
all have a different vision. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really important that you make that distinction, because this podcast and this episode is not to tell people, I need you to be like Tamika. I
Yeah.
need you to be,
Yeah.
become an international flight attendant.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
This
Um,
is what works for me. You said
right.
energy, so sometimes I'm in a more of a professional setting, um,
Right.
but I still guard my energy. I mean, even in my different jobs, I'm blessed enough, that God directed me into positions where I do have the authority and
Right.
I can command, the
Your
energy in the room.
schedule and
Most
yeah.
of the time, I on a flight, I am the lead flight attendant. I'm the purser. So I can, set the energy, the tone of the flight, how
Right.
this flight is going to operate. And if someone does not want to listen, unfortunately, I don't feel comfortable with you on my flight, so you will have to take the next flight. And I do
Hmm.
that with the crew members. We
Hmm.
talk. This is how it's going to be. It's going to be customer service. Even as far as being a realtor, I get to choose the people that I get to work with.
Right.
So
Right.
if you want my help, hey, I'm here to assist you. So
Right.
I'm just blessed in those areas that God has. But let me say this: I had to make the decision first. I had to make the
Right.
decision on, this is the type of people, this is the type of energy that I want around me, and I put up boundaries, and I just did not accept anything outside of that. So.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think with all of this that we talk about, I think self-awareness is extremely important because you have to know yourself before you can start to even create those boundaries. Understanding what triggers you, understanding how you feel, being very in tune to who you are. I used to wonder why there were certain people that would bother me. So I understand the whole energy thing because they wouldn't, maybe they didn't even say anything to me, but I could be in a room with someone and there's something about their aura or whatever that I didn't feel good about them. And it took me a long time to figure out that that is protection, for one thing, that we have that protection. But also, sometimes it's more that we need to know about ourselves. Sometimes it's a reflection of something we don't like about ourselves. And I had to figure that out as well. When I start to see the behaviors I don't like, I have to ask myself, is this something I'm doing? You know, am I coming across this way? And with that comes growth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a part of also being resilient is because resilience is not just a motivational thing. It really is not. There is a structure to it. And once I really caught on to that, it made a huge difference. So, but I get the energy thing. I definitely get that. Now, one of the things that I've forgotten that I knew about you, but I forgot was that you served in the United States Army.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how do you think that helped shape your mindset or your resilience? Did it contribute? And thank you for your service.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I grew up as a Air Force child, so I grew up
Okay.
on bases, and so growing up living on Air Force bases is already very disciplined. Um,
Okay.
so I grew up sheltered, I would say, where and with a military father, so everything was always in order. and
Okay.
and living on an Air Force base, you're everybody. I mean, they're the strictest HOA I've ever known in my life. So I knew HOA before I even started doing real estate. So I think it kind of started there.
Okay.
As far as the discipline aspect, and then yes, I later on, at the ripe age of 18, well, I joined when I was 17 and then went to basic training when I was 18, and yes, that taught me a lot. It taught me a lot of discipline. I already knew how to accept people for who they were,
Mm-hmm.
different nationalities, different backgrounds, because we were moving
Mm.
3 years to a whole new school. So I was used to saying bye to people, and then, hey, here I'm the new student, and making new friends. And one thing
Oh,
I did learn in that, when I look back now, I've always been the leader for some reason. Every situation, I would always be the leader, and I'm grateful for that because I was a leader that had a heart. I'm grateful I wasn't a mean person or anything like that.
right.
Because when I look back, I don't have many regrets as far as the people, that I was around. So
Right.
I do say the military was a big contributor to the type of person that I am as far as my discipline aspect,
Yes.
and and me being so social as I am, um,
Mm-hmm.
and being open to different cultures and different lifestyles,
Mm-hmm.
me not judging other people. I let
Right.
God do that.
Right.
And because, gratefully, it's not going to be my job. I will not be standing at the pearly gates and saying, you can come in. I don't want that job. So,
Right.
so
Right. You'll
I'm
take that
grateful.
role.
Yeah. Yeah. So being in it, and it also helped me as far as my career,
Right.
because that is on my resume. That is, part of my background, you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I only served one term, which was
Hmm.
4 years. And then I
Hmm.
decided, hey, this wasn't for me, but I
Hmm.
am grateful for the opportunity.
Right. You did learn some things. I know.
I did a lot.
Ironically, my very first job, this is so I look back on it now and I kind of laugh. My very first job at 16 was working at the mall in the Army recruiting station as a civilian receptionist.
Mm.
And I wanted so badly to go into the military, but I was 20 pounds overweight. I could not do it. I couldn't get in. I was like, I look back on that now and I'm like, I don't know if that was a blessing. I don't know because I'm not all that physical. So it would probably was a good thing I was overweight. But I did work with. I loved working. That was my first job, and I just loved the because all of the guys were so friendly, and it was just pretty cool. And they really spoiled me. But yeah, my mom wanted me to go in the Air Force so bad. She really did.
You would have been
And
amazing in the Air Force. Yeah.
yeah, well,
With
you
your intellect, because I feel
know,
like Air Force
mhm,
people are more intellectual. I mean, my
yeah.
dad was a engineer in the Air Force, so he put together airplane engines on the computer. So
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, 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 yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not as physical as the Army. Army is more physical.
right, right. And I worked in the Army recruiting station, so they were trying to get me in because I was in that particular office. But you know how it is in those recruitment centers where every branch is right there together. And I
Mhm.
used to sneak off and go over to the Air Force and talk to the guys and yeah, but I wasn't going to make it past what they call it AFES. I wasn't going to make it past the physical or whatever. They said, well, if you go, we put you on the diet and forget it. Didn't happen. But anyway, I think that's really cool that you served and had that
Thank
experience. I
you.
agree.
Mhm.
So I think I want to go back to the words dream life and that because people say that all the time. People
Yeah.
talk all the time about, I'm going to live my dream life and and I yet sometimes I don't let people get off the block, so to speak. I don't even know if they even get off the starting block because there's some kind of maybe they don't know what to do, and not everyone is as open to personal development, and so they just they kind of wander around a little bit. What do you say, what's the first step you think for people who know they want to do something, but where do they begin?
I mean, if it's something you really want to do, you got to go for it. I mean, just by keep thinking about it and
Hmm.
no action.
Right.
Yeah, and just I mean, you got to make your dream a reality. So
Hmm.
I can honestly say I am living my dream life.
Hmm.
I love my life.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean I don't have issues. It doesn't mean I don't have
Right,
problems. I mean, none of us are exempt from that in this life.
right, right, right.
So,
Yeah.
but I'm doing what I want to do. I have the
Hmm.
people around me I want to have around me. I have time for myself. I have three
Hmm.
sons, three adult sons. This is the first time in my life that I only really had to worry about Tamika. And
Right.
at first, I was like, oh, I would sit around just twirling my thumbs, like, what am I going to do?
Hmm.
God quickly filled that
Yeah.
space for me.
Yeah.
But I would say, seek ye first the kingdom, and
Okay.
then
Mhm.
then all these things will come after.
Okay.
Um, I knew I loved to travel. I never thought I was going to be a flight attendant. That was never my idea. That was the Most High's idea for me. He's the one who directed me to that. I wasn't a child who was, oh, my dream. I mean, so many people that I work with, they've been dreaming of being a flight attendant since they were kids. I never thought about being a flight attendant.
Right.
So
Interesting.
I thought me going into the Army was going to give me my gateway to traveling, but I quickly learned that was not going to do it for me because I didn't
Mhm.
like it.
Right.
So And then
Mhm.
so I was, it took me helping, when you help other people, it took me helping another sister friend of mine. She was trying to fulfill her dream of becoming a flight attendant. And at the Blue, she was like, you know what, you should do this. And so that's how it started. And then once I realized what God was able to do and what was happening, I just
Mhm.
became so grateful. And that was 8
Mhm.
years ago. I've been doing this since
Wow.
2018. May 18th of 2018 will be 8 years that I've been traveling. Been to 36 countries.
Mm.
Last year I was able to go to 16 countries. I've been to four. I'm taking three friends in a couple of weeks to China with me because now I have connections. So God is just amazing.
Yes.
I had the opportunity in March to go speak in Paris and was
Right.
ordained as a global speaker. So it's just, these are things that wasn't even on my list, that I never even thought of. But
Yeah.
as I continue to move forward,
Mhm.
God kept bringing me different things, and he kept
Mhm.
making my dream, my little bitty dream, bigger
Bigger.
and bigger and bigger. And I don't want
Mhm.
to cry on here because
Aw,
it's just it's just
amazing.
amazing when
Yeah.
you follow in
Mhm.
obedience
Yeah.
and you do the right things, then the right things will come to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I have watched, I have seen. What's so beautiful is that you take us with you in a lot of your posts, and I have seen you in some really beautiful places, eating some really good food, which I always pay attention to, you know. I'm sorry, I'm getting
That's
over
okay.
bronchitis. Yeah, no, I feel your passion. I love that, Tamika, because you're not just talking the talk, you're walking the talk, and you're living it every day. You're showing, you're modeling. Every good educator models the lesson, and you are modeling what it's like to design your life. And that's why I really wanted, to share you with the audience, because so many people dream, and
Mm-hmm.
they think they're dreaming big, but they're
Mm-hmm.
not taking the action, like you said.
Yeah.
You can sit and watch TV all day long, or you can decide to be a part of, that arena. And I think for you, you made some decisions. um, you also highlight something else that I think is important for people to realize, is that many times you're not sure of the direction you're going to go in.
No.
You just trust and take action.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you, I was in corporate for years and years and years, and never thought I was going to be a teacher. But when I decided, I turned 50 my first year in the classroom, I decided to become a teacher and had no idea the doors that would open for me,
Mm-hmm.
and the amount of lives I would impact. And so, to me, I am living my dream life as an educator, because the number of students in 12 years that I have taught who now have children, many of which married, have children. I have students who got married that I had both in my classroom. And I'm seeing them, because now social media makes it so easy,
Yeah.
seeing their lives play out. That warms my heart. I
Mm-hmm.
like, every time I see my former students doing well, it's like I had a part in that. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and you just never know what it is that lights you up, but that lights me up, just like
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing lights you up. And yes, faith is very important. Having faith and trusting that you will manifest what you need to, or what is meant for you. So I totally get that. Um, so you emphasize choosing happiness.
Mm-hmm.
It's a choice. That word just keeps coming up. How do you maintain that choice during difficult or uncertain seasons? Because I know you've gone through some things. Um, I know one thing for sure that I remember, and I felt your heart, was when you lost your grandma. Your grandmother was everything to you. I
Mm-hmm.
watched you over the years. You were so faithful in showing up for her and being in her life, and she loved you so much. You had to continue on your path and get through that season.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you do it?
Yeah. So, that's a good example because even with that, I still had to, God was pruning me at that time. You know,
Okay.
it was real. He was showing me how to actually choose happiness despite my circumstances. And when my grandmother finally did pass away, I did mourn her. My flesh did mourn her. However, I was happy for her,
Hmm.
and I was happy that I got to know her and had that, and that I was in her lineage and was her grandchild. So I would say, even in those circumstances, I still made a decision. I would say one of the hardest things for me has been, I have three sons, and my sons are now adults. They're 25. I have to think,
Yeah, I
25
know.
and 29. And so
I'm sorry.
even as adults, I feel like it was easier to parent them when they were kids, because if they
Hmm.
did something, I'll be like, you know what, go to your room, or whatever the case may be. I had more
Hmm.
control. Now it's like, okay, so how did that work out? Or, and they're quick to tell me I'm a man now. And, so with that, sometimes if the relationship, my sons can really, it's an emotional thing. So they
Yeah.
can call me and say something to me, and I can have the choice. It could be first thing in the morning, and I will sit there and I have the choice to either allow that to make my day be miserable for the rest of
Right.
the day, or I can say that's their problem. They got to figure out, they're adults, and I'm going to enjoy my day. I'm not going to
Right.
allow that
Yeah.
to allow me to waste a whole day of my life. I don't know how much longer I have on this earth.
Right. Right.
Well,
Right.
each day is very important to me. And that's with anyone and anything,
Hmm.
circumstance. I remember someone hit me a couple years ago when I
Hmm.
was in my car, and I was upset, and it was like, okay, so every little thing that happens to me, I always ask myself, now it comes automatic. I say, okay, am I going to just allow this right here? I may complain, grumble, and but then
Hmm.
I get over it. This is
Hmm.
going to be my path for the whole entire day. Um,
Right.
it's a beautiful day. I'm gonna enjoy it. I may go for a walk. I may go to the mall. Whatever makes me happy.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, and it could be something small. Some people like to cook. Okay,
Hmm.
so it just depends. I just do something that makes me happy. And one of my greatest joys is spending time with my grandbabies. I love them. And so they bring me the most joy, and I have a great example of how to be a grandma.
Right.
So they're my two little best friends, broke
Right.
best friends. Yeah.
Right. That's
They
funny.
love
I
me to
know.
death. Yeah.
But yeah, I know my granddaughter is just amazing to me. I get it. And you think legacy, that's the thing, is that when my granddaughter came along, I was like, okay, everything I'm doing now, I'm building for her. And
Mhm.
my son is like, are you skipping me? I'm like, no, you don't get it. She's
Yeah.
she's
You had
female.
it for many
Yeah,
years.
yeah, you got me. You got me now. But she is coming up, and I want to make sure that she's set.
Mm.
But speaking of that and legacy, talk to me about Wealthy Concepts Media. What
Mm.
inspired you to create a platform that highlights entrepreneurs?
So I created Wealthy Concepts back in 2016, and
Hmm.
I love the words wealthy because I aspire to be wealthy. And so
Right.
wealthy means is great health,
Right.
great energy, great people. It's not about really material things and riches. So Wealthy Concepts Media is a way. I'm always being invited to businesses, and people are always wanting my opinion on something. And so we just started interviewing business owners and having
Hmm.
them highlight their business and ask them questions, things that's going well for their business, for entrepreneurs. I was facilitating events. I no longer host events anymore. I do more of the speaking aspect or the red carpet interviewing for Wealthy Concepts Media. But it's really lines up with my purpose. I go all the way back to when I did work for corporate. One of the biggest things I did like about my job is me training my teams to be successful and teaching them things that works well for me and how to be successful in their role. So I just do that for business owners. When I started Wealthy Concepts, immediately it became a success. I wasn't expecting that
Mhm.
because statistics show that your first year of business you really struggle a lot, but I really didn't have that,
Right.
and I had more business than I had people at that
Right. Right.
so with me training entrepreneurs, and that's what intrigued me to create the entrepreneur workbook, is
Oh
because
yeah.
when I first was creating my business, I went to Staples, I went to Office Max. I was just looking for an entrepreneur workbook, something that will guide me through to creating my business, and there was none.
Mhm.
I did everything from scratch. And so as I was doing everything, I documented everything.
Mhm.
And then I created my own 50-page workbook. And so if you
Mhm.
follow that workbook, you will have a completed LLC or sole proprietorship, whatever you decide to choose, and you'll have a EIN number, a bank account. I
All
mean,
of that.
yes,
Yeah.
you will have a business by the time you get done
Yeah.
with Entrepreneur 101 workbook. And that workbook allowed me, for 3 years, I hosted a class at Fresh Start Women's.
I was gonna say I went to your class and I got my book from that class.
Oh, did you?
I
Okay.
did. That's when I was in 2018 when I started Tribe Authentic Woman. I got your book.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
wonderful. That is
Yeah.
so wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would do the second Saturday of every month. And I
Mhm.
did that for 3 years. And I would
Yeah.
sell my workbook there.
Yes.
They would allow me to do that. And the only reason why I stopped was because I became a flight attendant. My schedule just was so conflicting
Mhm.
that it wouldn't allow me. But I enjoyed that. And in my class, there was a waiting list every month.
Yeah.
Then then they invited me to host the entrepreneur fair once a year. And then
Mhm.
I was in charge of this, picking the speakers and then vendors, and you know, so
Mhm.
I just feel like, again, just following in your purpose, saying yes. Today I posted on my social media page, position and purpose, because I am positioned in purpose to excel upward.
Mm. I
So
like that.
yeah.
Position and purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that certainly
So
makes
PIP,
sense. And
PIP.
position in purpose.
Yeah,
Okay.
position in purpose.
Mm,
Position yourself in your purpose. And
nice.
yeah, and as you do that, I believe in the law of attraction. So I
Mhm.
believe as you're out there, in the field doing what you're
Mhm.
supposed to be doing, the right people will come to you, and sometimes the wrong people too, but that's where your discernment
Mhm.
comes in.
Mhm.
And you standing strong on your boundaries and saying, hey,
Mhm.
don't even waste your time. That if someone could have gave me some advice and that I
Mhm.
could have learned years ago, was do not allow people to waste your time. So
Mm.
I've
Mhm.
learned that
Mhm.
now, when
Mhm.
people want to meet, want to do this, okay, what is this about? I can give you 30 minutes,
Right.
taking away
Right.
my rest. So
Well,
it's not
and you know what?
selfish. I'm just being self-aware.
You're
So
self-aware. And what I was going to say, I realized that myself over the years, how many things, because I think I was a victim of the shiny object syndrome. Like everything seemed shiny to me. Like if someone approached me about doing something, I would be like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Because I was not, first of all, anchored in what is it that I'm supposed to be doing, and just wanting to do something to be recognized because I hadn't finished my inner healing. So I was just kind of out there excited to do, and that's why I kept pivoting and evolving, and because I wasn't connecting to what am I really supposed to be doing. And
mhm.
so I also have to caution people with that too, because there's, I mean, if I answered every ad on LinkedIn that comes to me, oh my God, it's like crazy. Oh, I noticed this. And LinkedIn is really, the one, because people They see you're doing something. And what really cracks me up is when they reach out to me and they're like, I'd like to learn more about what you do, blah, blah, blah. And they're completely off. Like, did you read my profile? Did you read my like, did you even read anything on my profile? Because if you did, you wouldn't be approaching me about this. And so, but there's so many people that get excited for the attention that they will answer all of those different calls. And I went through a season of that as well and realized that no, my time is just as important as yours. I don't want to waste it. And this does not align with my purpose, you know. And yeah, you're right. We will attract just about anything, but how you govern yourself governs what you attract. So, right? So I remember a long time ago when I heard the whole thing about the pigeon and the eagle, understanding that if you're an eagle, you're gonna operate at a higher altitude. Once I caught on to that, I realized, yeah, I need to be more selective. And I think hopefully people listening don't confuse, um, the notion of in order to live my dream life, I've got to just like open myself up to everything, because you don't. You're right. You need to use your discernment. You need to, does this really fit with what I'm passionate about? Does this align with my vision? Is this something that, I really, and you don't have to be an expert already. You don't. You just have to be open to, how does this feel? Does this align with where I'm trying to go? And then try it. Like
and I think that's what stops a lot of people. They feel like they have to have a blueprint plan
right.
of anything that they do. And let me tell you right now, if, for those of you who do have a relationship with the Most High God, that he doesn't operate like that.
Right.
It's more about trust and faith, and
Absolutely.
and doing one step at a time, um, like if you know what makes you happy, and then like you use the word alignment, that is so important,
Right.
choose things that align to your purpose, and
Right.
then move forward with that. Don't
Mhm.
overwhelm yourself. Stress and anxiety is not, that's not a dream life.
Right. Right.
So,
Absolutely.
and even with that, I've learned I don't allow stress and anxiety in my life. If someone is causing me stress or anxiety, I'm sorry, you can't be in my inner space.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, because you bring that out in me. So, and I'm the type of person, I will explain those things to people, and I will let them know why.
Yes, you will.
And
Yes,
then,
you will.
you
I
know,
love that about you. You will. You just straight up. No, no joking, no playing. This is it. And with a straight face, you will say, "It's not
you're
going to work
so
for
funny.
me." I've had that conversation. I know. Excuse me. And there's nothing. Again, I appreciate authenticity in people. I
Mhm,
love that. I love when I know where I stand with someone. But
mhm,
there's so much power in that because, again, people are always watching
mhm,
and people are looking to see, are you going to align with what you say?
mhm,
Are you doing what you say? And while it's not something that you have to please other people, but at the same time, we are witnesses, right? And then, and I always tell Christians, please don't put yourself out there and say, I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, if you're not showing up as one.
mhm.
It's because people are watching. It's very important. Your testimony is what you do, not what you say.
That's right.
And
Mhm,
so with that, I think that's pretty cool. And I love, so Wealthy Concepts Media really is about helping other people grow and highlighting them as entrepreneurs.
mhm.
Um,
And businesses, and we
mhm,
do like for corporate businesses, red carpet interviews,
okay.
and even on the red carpet, we're interviewing, business owners, entrepreneurs, highlighting
Mhm,
their business, things of that nature. So it's just,
mhm.
um,
Promoting others.
yeah.
Mhm. That's good. What about the Arizona Black Women's Business Expo? What are you doing with that?
Yeah, so I'm excited. I was asked to come back for the second year in a row.
Mhm,
And the organizer of this business, her name's Antoinette,
mhm,
and me and her have been friends for the past 5 years. And last year was her first year bringing back the expo before COVID. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so this is only the second year that she's had it back, and it's a pretty big expo outside of the regular women's expo. It's just the
Like
second
the
largest.
Civic Plaza. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That big one. Okay.
Yeah, it's the second largest expo in Arizona. So you need to come out to this. It's going to be August 22nd. If you're a business owner, you have products, you have things like that, you need to get a table, a vendor table. If not, I think tickets are like $10 just to come. They had great food. I will be on stage from 12 to 3. So I've been asked to come back as the mistress of ceremony this year. So I'm excited about that. So I
Nice.
will be introducing the speakers, the talents, and all the guests, and then having some one-on-one talks and interviews with them. So
Nice. Maybe you can get Antoinette to come on to the Coach's Corner or Voices of Resilience. Maybe
yeah,
you can,
absolutely.
yeah, have her connect us. I would love her
Okay,
for her to tell more about her vision and how she got there, because I think that's a pretty huge thing to host,
it is.
and there has to be some inspiration behind her doing something like that. So I would love to hear that. Um, And so I want to real quick just share. So in case people are interested in or want to reach, I'm going to put on here um, how to connect with you at the bottom of the screen. So uh, direct messaging you in Instagram is the best way. Is
Yes,
that
I
okay?
check Instagram every single day. No matter where I'm at in the world, I check my IG. And
Okay,
um
great.
and it's just a good medium point because I go to certain countries, like for
Mhm.
example Facebook is banned in China, you know, that so
Right.
on, you know, but IG is pretty much accepted everywhere. Some places TikTok you can't utilize TikTok because they don't have it, you know.
Oh, I
Yes.
didn't realize that. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
there may be times I do have on my phone plan, I do have international service, of course, but sometimes, you know, it's just it may not be working properly. So I can
Right.
always hop on the Wi-Fi and get on my Instagram. So that is the best way to
To
connect
reach
with
you.
me and to stay connected and to see the things that I'm doing because I do share uh,
Yes.
a lot of what I'm doing, and if it's a really neat country, I share that and things to do in that country. So if you're a travelnista, I do have a travel page as well. So
Nice.
once you connect with me, then I'll start connecting you to some of my other pages. I have about 10 pages. People don't know that because some of it's not my name. Some I'm just an admin under,
Yeah.
and you know, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So as we're wrapping up, and I please do not go away. I want to talk to you backstage, but as we're wrapping up, if someone's listening right now and feels stuck or limited, what's one truth you want them to walk away with today?
I would say if you're feeling stuck and limited, and I know firsthand what that feels like, and you will go through that in different seasons of your life, and
Hmm.
when you're leveling up, you may
Hmm.
hit a wall. Sometimes when you get to feeling stuck, it may be because you're getting ready to excel to the next level. But what I
Hmm.
would say is please don't give up. Do not use that opportunity to succumb and go into a corner, but to continue
Hmm.
to move forward and do
Hmm.
some self evaluation. Um, this journey is not about having a entourage or having a
Hmm.
whole bunch of people around you. It's more about you learning to love yourself and wanting to be around yourself, you know.
Hmm.
And
Right.
so, you know, I am my own best friend, you know,
Hmm.
and I love Tamika. You know,
Hmm.
I love Tamika Williams. I love her to death. She gets on my nerves sometimes, but I
Hmm.
do. So you use any extra time that you have to self-reflect, to pray. I mean, I believe prayer is a good thing, and um, again,
Hmm.
I'm a woman of faith, so I live by that,
Hmm.
and I'm always going to give God the glory and the honor in everything that I am doing
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
I wouldn't be here
Absolutely.
without that direction.
Absolutely.
And his thoughts are not my thoughts, and the things that he has brought to me, I would have never thought of that in a million years. It's like
Mhm.
my brain doesn't even go past that capacity.
Mhm.
So that
Mhm.
is my advice, is to pray, do self-reflection, but at the end of the day, do not stop, keep moving forward.
I love it. That is good advice. I just had a chance to check comments real quick. And for those who are listening and have been listening, thank you for the comments. I just have a question. How can we get the workbook?
Oh,
Um,
so if you I do have it on the electronic copies.
okay.
So if you connect with me on IG, um,
Okay.
then I can, and I do sell those workbooks for $35.
Okay.
But for this show, if you say you were listening, I will for 25. So
Okay. All right. I love that. I love a discount. All right.
yeah.
Let me put that back up on the banner so that people can make sure they can, capture your contact information again, because that's important. $25 is better than 35, and it's awesome. Um, I know, boy. I tell you, between my bronchitis and our I almost said arthritis. Lord have mercy. I'm trying to keep. I can't. It's been a season, but that's what happens when you work in schools, right? Um,
Or flying airplanes.
mhm. Oh, and flying airplanes, exactly. You
They're
between the two of us,
cycles, so
we managed it. We managed it. But Tamika, as always, I am always grateful to be in your presence and to have to share time with you. I think this has been wonderful. And again, hang out. I want to talk to you a little bit more, but I just I want our listeners, whether they're doing a replay later, to connect with you and at least see all of the wonderful traveling you're doing. And if anything resonated, let us know in the comments, for sure. And so hopefully everyone has gotten your Instagram, Tamika underscore Shani. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Okay. And I think we froze. All right. With that being said, I'm not sure if we're having technical difficulty or not, but I am at this point going to say again, thank you to all of our listeners. Um, don't forget to hit the like button. I think we lost her. That's okay. It's technical. Definitely subscribe for more wherever you're listening to this, whether it be LinkedIn, Facebook, um, Twitch, uh, and obviously YouTube. Go ahead and like. And here's what I was looking for. We are stronger together. If each one would just reach one, we would all could grow and glow. And this is from BBTV Productions. Thank you for listening. And have a wonderful week. And I'll see you again next week on the Coach's Corner.